Welcome to Model Building 101 with Ryu Rakunchon. Today we'll be making a rough model with lots of stairs. First of all, maybe you should probably go get some tea or something to drink because hydration is very important. Great. And now we need, of course, a good ground plan that is drafted for the show. This is a design for an outdoor production of King Lear, designed by Wilson Chin. And right now, I am showing you the perimeters of where this model is going to be. So, because it is outdoor, there's no real walls for the side of the model box, right? So we're just going to put the set onto a rectangular piece that is representative of the playing space. And now I am showing you where the set that will be built onto this playing space ends, and that's the end of the deck. To me, however, the most important information here is where the center line or the center of the set is in relation to the space itself. And now I've identified a few key points of where the set itself is sitting onto the playing area. I'm going to grab the piece of foam core that everything is going to be on, and with the use of a push pin, you're going to transfer the ground plan onto the foam core. For me, I only need a few points for where there's an intersection. The intersection is predetermined by the most important parts of the set. For example, the edge of the deck, the edge of the platform, the walls that are going to go on the deck, and it's also a good way to not waste paper and print several ground plans. So, after we've made all of these little holes, we will then start playing connect the dots and draft it out. Easy, right? We're gonna draft out, see, kaboom, kaboom. And now we're gonna cut out the excess foam core that we do not need from this ground plan. You can either use a box cutter, if you enjoy using that, or an X-Acto blade. The choice is up to you because it's what you're comfortable with. Just make sure that when you cut anything, please cut it with a straight edge, just like a metal ruler. Remember one thing, foam core is essentially foam that is sandwiched between two pieces of paper. So don't assume you can cut into it with a straight edge on the first round, because if you do, the foam probably is going to break, leaving you with an undesired rough edge. You do not want that. And now, as you can see, I used my pinky to stabilize the blade so that it cuts in a straight line. So in this model, the floor itself is grass, so we're going to use some green paper to create grass out of that. So I'm doing the same technique, using the holes that I've punctured before as the guide, re-puncture onto this green paper, and then draft it out, and voila! So now we have to adhere it to the foam core. There's a couple ways you can do this. One way is to use a Super 77 spray, which is an adhesive spray. It is a little carcinogenic, so you can also use a twin tack or a double tack mounting film. These are more expensive, and I'm not a millionaire, so I use my Super 77, even though there are some residue that's usually left over. So be careful not to spray it too close. It will leave a residue. Anyways, let's move on to the deck itself. And this deck, there's very time consuming because it is lots and lots of steps. But again, same thing, using some push pins, push pin all of the guides and then draft it out on this piece of mat board. There's so many kinds of mat boards. The one we're using actually is a black on white 2-ply mat board because it's easier to cut. And it's perfect. That is our first layer, but we're not done there, but this is considered good. Remember one thing, that each step in the ground plan states that it is 8 inches increments, right? So in this case, I'm going to have to layer a piece of Bristol and a piece of gray paper. We're using gray paper because the finished product wanted to be gray anyway. So we're going to feed 2 birds with 1 stone. As you can see, I am slowly putting on twin tack, removing the non-sticky layer to reveal the sticky layer, putting on the Bristol, cutting out the shape, layering on another piece of twin tack, And as you can see, I'm not going too far into the deck with the gray paper because we have 100 million gazillion more levels to do, right? But this is considered okay. This is good because it is the correct height in 1/8 inch scale. And then we have to continue with the rest. Okay, so did another one. And as you can see, when you cut all these paper, there are exposed edges, right? And again, because this is a rough model, you can do this. You can literally just use a marker and color in the exposed edges to the same color as the paper that you used. Or sometimes if you decide to paint this entirely, then you can paint the edges, but this is a quick trick that you can use. Voila! The step is now the same color. And then you do more steps. And then layer on more steps. And in case you didn't catch that before, here is how you do it. You would put paper, twin tack, and then add on the Bristol, do twin tack again, add the paper, cut it out to create that 8 inches you want in scale. So the deck portion of this design is pretty much done. On to the next thing are the towers in the design. How do we do that? First, we start with getting the elevations that has been drawn. And both are readily available, and the designer gave us a few extra pieces to also use as a template to cut out. So when I'm working, I often like to make sure that the paper is not in the way while I'm cutting each individual pieces. And that really is the only reason why I'm doing this right now. Cut, cut, cut. So if nothing's in the way while I'm cutting these pieces. And we're not going to use the pushpin method. In this case, we're just literally going to twin tack on the drafted pieces itself onto foam core, because that was the right depth of the piece anyways. As you can see, as I'm cutting here, I am making good use of the ruler to protect the side of the piece that I am not cutting away. In that case, I am protecting the piece that I need to remain undamaged, right? Again, using the ruler as a guard so the piece is not damaged. As you can see, there's a lot of small cuts in this piece. Using the ruler as a guard is very helpful. This piece also has a 3-dimensional cornice that's on it. So in order to make that, we have to make sure that you've drafted the profile of it already, and all you have to do is stack up a few Bristol board plus some mat, where the base of this is the largest piece, and then it slowly reduced in size to create that cornice profile we want. And that's a version of how you do stairs and create a rough model. Thanks for listening. More how-to videos coming soon. For now, bye!